Hi everyone, welcome to our third virtual field trip. So this week I decided that based on some requests, we should go to, keyboard drum roll, Greece. So Greece is a country in Europe, okay, just like the other two. Promise we'll go somewhere besides Europe in a field trip coming soon. And I visited Greece in the summer of 2014 with my sister. We spent some time in Italy, and then we spent a full week in Greece. And I went to 3 different places within Greece. So I'm going to share with you some of my photos, a little fast facts, as I did with my other virtual field trips, as well as some maps of Greece, Europe, and the world, so you know where Greece is located. And I hope you just learned something fun about it. Greece is a really beautiful country, lots of islands, so it's really popular for vacationing, but it also has a really cool history on its own. So I hope you enjoy my Greece trip, and maybe you'll get to go there someday too. We're going to start with the map. So this map of Greece, the one I happen to find on the internet, it does have lots of different colors. Those are just the different island bands. But as you can see, Greece is made up of a bunch of little islands, but also there's a big mainland part. So everything sort of in that red section is all part of the country of Greece. So Athens is the capital of Greece. Almost half of the residents in all of Greece live in the Athens region. I actually did go there. It's one of the places that I went. I also went to 2 different islands. I went to Santorini, which can be found right there. And I went to Paros, which can be found right there. So I sort of traveled, actually started at Santorini in the south, then went to Paros, and then ended in Athens. But as you can see, there are plenty of places in Greece where I could have gone. Now let's zoom out. Greece is located in the continent of Europe. So take a minute, pause if you want to, and see if you can find where Greece is located within its continent. Did you find it? There it is. Okay, so you can see Greece is in very southern Europe. Okay, it's just to the east of Italy, which is that country that sort of looks like a boot. And it is close to Turkey and then going down into the Middle East. Let's zoom out further to the world. So if you want to pause and take a minute, you won't really be able to read. I don't think Greece actually on this map. It's very, very tiny. But if you want to try to find where Europe is and then use your knowledge to go from there, you can. So pause if you want to take a minute and look for Greece. Okay, and Greece is right there. So as you can see, it's just north of Africa. All right, so this is a picture of the Greek flag. I actually had to change the background behind the flag because I had made it exactly the color of the flag. And so it was a little hard to see. So this Greek flag is blue and white, okay? It's supposed to symbolize the sky and the sea. And you can see in the upper left-hand corner, there's a cross that represents the Eastern Orthodox Christian religion that many people in Greece follow. And there are 9 stripes in this flag. And so there are a few different meanings of the 9 stripes, a few different legends. It seemed that no one was exactly sure why the 9 stripes were there, but some people say that there are 9 syllables in a Greek phrase that means freedom or death. Some other people say that it's because in the Greek word for freedom, there are 9 letters. No, there are not 9 letters in the English word for freedom, but there are in the Greek word for freedom. Or some people say that there are 9 muses in Greek civilization. Muses are like their goddesses of art and civilization. So 9 is an important number in the Greek culture. So there are 9 stripes on the flag. And finally, some fast facts about Greece. So, first of all, Greece is a very ancient civilization. So historians, kind of bat around when did it actually start. The country, okay, obviously started later on, but there have been people living in the Greek region for some people think up to 10,000 years ago. Okay, so ancient Greece, a lot of historians have studied ancient Greece and their culture. Greece's population is around 11 million, but they often get many more visitors than that each year. So every year, Greece gets way more than 11 million extra people just coming to visit. So it's one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world, very popular for vacationing. As you saw on the map, Greece is made up of thousands of islands, but only 200 or so are inhabited. Every website I looked at gave different results of how many are actually inhabited. So a lot of them are very tiny and people don't live on them. They speak Greek in Greece. That's their official language. We have lots of words that have Greek roots, such as like biology, psychology, anything that ends in that suffix. And the Greek alphabet only has 24 letters, and some of the letters are different from ours. Fun fact, our word alphabet comes from Greek. The first two letters in the Greek alphabet are alpha and beta. So they put them together and made the word alphabet. Greece is considered to be the world's first democracy. So they had some people vote in order to determine the government. It's also the birthplace of so many other important events. Lots of important philosophical ideas and mathematical ideas, scientific ideas came out of Greece. In addition to lots of theater. Greece was very, very big in impacting the world's culture. And finally, the Olympics were first held in ancient Greece over 2,000 years ago. So in ancient Greece, they invented the Olympic Games. And then in modern times, when they decided to bring the Olympics back, the first Olympics of modern times were also held in Athens, Greece, the capital, in 1896. And then Athens also hosted the Summer Olympics again in 2004. So those are just some facts about Greece. Again, it's a fascinating country. It's been around for a really long time and has brought a lot to the world. So next we're going to dive into some pictures. Like I said, our first stop in Greece was to the island of Santorini. It's actually called Thera, now the island, but most people still call it Santorini as well. So about 11,000 people live on the island of Santorini, but almost 500,000 people visit Santorini every year. It's a really popular tourist destination. There's lots of cruise ships that come in daily during the summer months, as well as people visiting like us. It was built from volcanic eruptions. It's technically a dormant volcano. So many years ago, it was built through lots of volcanic eruptions and lava building and hardening and forming the island today. So it forms a little caldera. And we actually visited part of the volcano, which I will show you in a little bit, but that was really cool. So this picture was the view from when we were picked up to go into the town that we stayed in when we lived, I wish, when we visited Santorini, and that town was called Parisa. And one of Parisa's most famous qualities is the black sand beach that it has. So again, because Santorini is a volcano, the sand in this beach was black because of the residual volcanic ash. So that was just really cool to see. Yes, the sand was very hot. Again, not hot because it's an active volcano, but hot because it is black and heated by the sun all day long. However, it was really cool just to see a beach that looks so totally different from ones that I'm used to, even if we did have to run into the water because our feet were instantly burning. I remember actually we started, since there weren't really many big waves, we started just wearing our flip-flops right to the edge of the water and leaving them there so we could go in without burning our feet. This is another view just of the beach. You can see the huge rock right there. Not very crowded beach at all. There's not lifeguards every single block like I'm used to from visiting Ocean City, Maryland. And we definitely ate really well when we were in Greece. This is a picture of one of our typical meals. The Greek diet's pretty healthy, lots of olive oil and vegetables and seafood. So you can see there are some grilled vegetables with some vinegar. We also ate lots of French fries when we were in Greece. That was amazing. And then that white dip you see is called tzatziki. It's made of Greek yogurt, cucumber, dill, things like that. And I actually eat it here in America all the time. So it's a healthy dip that's very common in Greek culture. This was the hotel that we stayed in. I always just like to take pictures of the hotels, especially when they look different from ones we might see in America, but it was perfect for what we needed. And like the flag is white and blue, most of the buildings in Greece, at least in the places that we went to, were white and often with blue accents or blue roofs. So that was cool. We went back to the black sand beach the next day. So this is just a view looking the opposite direction. We were able to walk right to the beach from our hotel. So you can see it's very flat on this side, not like the huge rock on the other side, and just really pretty. One more shot of this black sand beach, and you can kind of see in the distance another island. That's the island of Anafi. So again, Greece is made up of so many islands, and so there you can actually see some from other islands. This picture I just really liked. It's a little house sort of tucked up in the middle of the rock. I have no idea how you get there, but I just thought, what if you lived in that house? So I took a picture. And that's the entrance to our hotel complex. Again, I think about hotels I've seen in Baltimore or I've stayed at in New York City, and this just looks totally different. Santorini is famous for its sunsets, so we took several sunset pictures when we were there. Here's one that I took while we were visiting the town of Fira. So Fira is the main town on the island, so we took a bus there from Parisa to walk around and explore and eat dinner. So you can see the buildings are mostly light colored, not all white for this one. And then here's a few more sunset pictures. You can see a cruise ship, okay, on the right, leaving Santorini for the day. And then this other picture, again, it was just really pretty sunset. This is just a shot of one of the streets in Fira. Okay, a lot of them are narrow, hilly. You can see there's that waiter. He's actually, a lot of times the kitchens would either be upstairs or downstairs, like on a different level of the restaurant. So instead of walking through the restaurant, they'd walk through the street with the plates. So that was pretty cool. We ate a lot of seafood in Greece. Okay, so here is a picture of one of our plates. And then here is a Greek salad. We got Greek salads with almost every meal. And my favorite part of the Greek salad, which they don't really do in America, but I wish they would, is they do not have any lettuce in real Greek salads. Okay, which, I mean, I agree with them. Who needs lettuce? It's just a boring filter. Not filter, sorry. It's a boring filler. So instead, they just have more vegetables, especially more cucumbers and lots of feta cheese. There's a picture of me in Fira. I was trying to match the buildings, but with my blue outfit, but as you can see, they're mostly white. You can't really see the blue accents quite as well. So our next day, we went on this really cool boat tour. So this is just a picture of the waters. We were boarding the boat. Like I said, I'm used to water in Ocean City, Maryland, which I'm not trying to bash Ocean City. I love it with all my heart, but the water does not look like that. So I kept taking pictures of the water. So we took this day-long tour on this ship. So it kind of looks like a pirate ship, and it picked us up from a few different ports around Santorini. And then the first thing it did was take us to this volcanic island. It's part of Santorini. It's sort of right across from the main island. So you can see Fira, the town that we were in the night before, on the top there. And what we got to do, so you can kind of see here the ships all pulling up to this island. We got to hike and walk around and experience, okay, this, again, dormant volcano. I like a lot of these pictures. I just thought it was really cool to look back at the island of Santorini, the main island, and see the little towns on top. So this picture is of Ia. Okay, you can see all the little white buildings. A Greek flag was planted in the island. You can see it was clearly very safe, paved paths. Nothing was too steep. Like, it wasn't a really tall, like, mountainous volcano with lava coming down or anything. It was more like we were climbing a hot hill. And again, it was dormant, no lava. But our tour guide did at one point kind of dig into a part that was roped off, and like we could kind of hover our hand over and we could feel how hot it was coming out of there. So it was pretty cool. This picture, I mean, you can see the buildings, but again, I also just loved the watercolor and the change in the water. So the next thing we did was after we walked around the island, we got back on the ship and we went to this natural hot spring. So you can sort of see in this picture when the water gets brown, that's where the hot spring was. So they told us, okay, if you can swim, go ahead. And they didn't do a swimming test. They didn't have our names, nothing. We just jumped off the ship, landed in deep water, like way over our heads, and had to swim over to this hot spring if we wanted to experience it. The water was brown. Okay, those are all the minerals in there that help make it hot. It was naturally hot water. It was really cool. As we were swimming in, the water was just getting hotter and hotter. It wasn't uncomfortable. It wasn't super hot. It just felt really, really nice. And they warned us, your bathing suits will get ruined because the water's brown. And they did. So at the end of the time, the ship just blew a horn and we all had to swim back to the boat and get back on. And after that, we went to a little fishing village called, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Theresia. So we stopped there, had some lunch, and then the ship took us to Ia. So Ia is one of the other towns on the island of Santorini. It's not the main town, Fira, but Ia is pretty famous. That is directly where Alina went in Sister of the Traveling Pants, in case you're wondering. And it's known for having the most beautiful sunsets. So we chilled at the bottom, okay, at the port for a little bit when the ship dropped us off because we had to find our way back up to Ia, and then we had a bus eventually to take us back to Parisa where we started. So my sister and I hung out, enjoyed these gorgeous views, just laid around and just like soaked in the sun and swam a little bit. And then we began the trek up. So there was a cable car, but it wasn't close. Or you could take a donkey, but I was afraid. So our other option was to walk. So these are some views as we walked up the island. It took us a while. There's a shot of how steep it was. Those are the donkeys. So the donkeys, it's a company, and they take people up the side of the mountain, but I wasn't sure how humane it was, and I was just really afraid the donkeys were going to throw me off, even though, this is their job. So we took some pictures of the houses that we saw along the way, getting closer to the top. And here's my I made it picture. I'm wearing workout clothes. I'm wearing my bathing suit that was ruined, and I'm exhausted from the hike. So it was worth it when we got to the top, though. There's a picture of a church that's in Ia, one of the main squares. Pictures of some buildings. And then, like I said, Ia has the famous sunset. So we took these series of photos. That's just sort of the evolution of a sunset. And gone. So that was our Santorini experience. So our next stop was Paros. So again, a picture as we are boarding the ferry of the water that was so gorgeous. So Paros is another island in Greece, and it was about a 2-hour ferry ride from Santorini to Paros, and this was the ferry. So I had never been on a ferry before, but I was imagining them to be much smaller than they were. If you don't know what a ferry is, it is a boat that carries people, but also cars and other large items. So lots of people were driving their cars onto the ship. It was just way bigger than I thought. We had assigned seats. It was almost like a cruise ship on the inside. So that was just a cool experience. So Paros is, like I said, a much smaller island. It has about 6,000 people that live there, but it has very gorgeous and popular beaches. So it's a popular spot to go visit. So we had emailed our the hotel manager of the hotel we were staying at and said, how do we get to the hotel room? And she said, oh, when you see the windmill, just make a left and then you'll find us eventually. And we kept laughing at that, but we got off the ferry and there was the windmill. So we found our way there. Here are some shots that I took as we were walking along the beach to our hotel. So you can see the water is really pretty. And this is the view from our hotel balcony. So overlooked the beach right there, which was really nice. We went to the beach for the day. You can see there was some sort of like water park in the water. I remember my sister really wanting to go join them, but it was all kids, so she didn't. And then there are no like rules or times the beach closed or anything like that. So we stayed there until the sunset, and it was not that crowded and really nice. The next day we went to the other, one of the other beaches on the island. We went to Golden Beach. And again, you can see the pictures. It was gorgeous, not crowded. And we were able to get chairs every time and umbrellas, and normally restaurants that are all along the water, if you buy food from them, they'll deliver it to you on the chair and you get to use the chair for the day. So we definitely took advantage of that. And that was Paros. So our last stop, we took another ferry. This one was 3 hours to Athens. So Athens, like I said, is the capital. It's the largest city in Greece. It's been inhabited for at least 5,000 years. So we saw lots of ancient ruins. And the population is a little bit greater than Baltimore. It has about 660,000 people living there. So way more than any of the islands that we saw. And we were only there for one day. It was the last day of our trip. And what we mainly learned is that Athens is hot. The August average, which is when we were there, the August average temperature is 95 degrees, and we felt it. It was sunny. There was hardly any shade. So we basically explored the ruins, and then that was it. So here are just some ancient ruins that we saw. They were all over the city. There's a view of the city from when we were walking. We visited this ancient theater. Greek theater really helped start a lot of the culture around the arts. So that was pretty cool. And then this is a view of Athens as we went to the Parthenon. So the Parthenon is a former temple. It was dedicated to the Greek goddess Athena, and it was built in 438 BC, so almost 2,500 years ago. Now it's obviously not in use, but you can still go tour it. So these are all shots from around the outside, and then you can also see some really pretty views of the city of Athens. You can see the Greek flag, some hills in the background. And you can see Athens is clearly a much bigger city than the islands that we were on. And then you can see that scaffolding on the right. They were just doing construction to make sure everything was safe. A view from inside the Parthenon. And then, like I said, after we walked around the ruins in the hot sun, we had had enough. So we went back to the air-conditioned hotel, relaxed. And then when we went out at night, we just went out to dinner. And then we found a spot that had a rooftop view of more ruins. So this last picture is one of those. So that was the last day of our trip. If I could go back to Greece again, I would spend more time in Athens just to learn a little bit more about that culture. But the islands were also really nice. So that was Greece. As you can tell, it's a beautiful country. Honestly, looking back at those pictures myself made me really crave some Greek food and some Greek beaches. I don't know about you, but I just really wanted to go back and dive in that water. So I'm glad that you came along with me on my virtual field trip. Stay tuned next week where we'll go on another one. Don't forget, if you have any requests, you can feel free to leave them in the comments, or you can send me an email if you know me personally at Battersby@bcps.org. I can also go to places outside of Europe. I've been to several different places in the United States that you might find interesting as well. I went to Alaska recently. I have lots of pictures of different places in California. I went to the Grand Canyon and some national parks. So lots of different places around America as well. That's all for today. I enjoyed traveling with you. I can't wait to see you soon. I miss you. I wish you well.